Not too long ago, building software meant spending endless hours of writing and debugging code, stitching systems together piece by piece, and just crossing your fingers that nothing broke in production. Today, you can build an app just by describing it in plain language and letting AI agents do the heavy lifting. And perhaps no one understands this shift better than our guest today. Amjad Masad is the founder of Replit, an AI-native coding platform which is today valued at $3 billion and competes with the likes of OpenAI, Anthropic, and Cursor. Besides, Replit's growth has been super rapid. Masad scaled the company from just $2.8 million to $150 million in annual recurring revenue in just months. His vision now is even bigger, to enable the next billion software creators who may never have to learn coding the traditional way. From hacking video games as a teenager in Jordan to facing rejection from companies like Google and to eventually building one of the fastest growing companies in the Silicon Valley, Amjad's journey is anything but conventional. In this episode, I speak to Amjad on how AI is reshaping the future of software development, rewriting the rules of work, and even redefining India's place in the global tech race. This is the second episode of a special series, ET in the Valley, where over the coming weeks, my colleagues and I will bring you conversations with founders and C-suite executives who are rewriting the global tech story with AI. It's Wednesday, the 12th of November. I'm your host, Himanshi Lohchab, and this is the Morning Brief. Hi, Amjad. Welcome to the Morning Brief. So, you've been an inspiration for so many founders around the world. Tell us a little bit about your early years, your roots in Jordan, and what ultimately shaped your journey.
Yeah, my path was incredibly untraditional. And, India and Jordan share some cultural roots in which our parents want us to take the traditional path of becoming an engineer, a doctor, go to the best university, spend all your high school years studying to get into IIT and so on. I wasn't a straight A student. I can if I wanted to, but I also wanted to spend a lot of time hacking and play video games and doing all of that stuff. My path to the US and to entrepreneurship has been through the back door mostly. And I encourage young people to start thinking this way because in a world of increased competition, there are always high leverage points and things you could do to differentiate from other people. So for me, it was open source. So the original version of Replit, the predecessor to Replit, was an open source online programming environment. It was the first of its kind to be able to run a lot of different programming languages in the browser. And I worked on it when I was in school, when I was 20, 21 years old, releasing it when I was 22 or 23. And it went viral on GitHub. I wanted to go to university in the US. My parents didn't have the money for it. I wanted to get scholarships. I wanted to get an internship at Google. I got rejected from all of that. But I still made it because I made something valuable. And in today's hyper-connected world, if you make something valuable, then people will notice. And so US companies noticed. Eventually, I joined Code Academy as the first engineer. They got me an O1 visa, and I came to the United States to do that. But one thing I will stress to people is that if you didn't get into the most prestigious university, if you didn't get straight A's, that's fine. You can still find your path.
So, Amjad, Replit has been a 9-year-old company. You've had this vision of helping software development even before AI became cool. But soon after the Gen AI moment, Replit's revenue just shot up from 2.8 million to 150 million within months. Tell us what changed and what Gen AI really means for the future of software coding.
Yeah, I think there has been two paradigm shifts in programming within a very short period of time. There was the Copilot era, right? So that was in 22, even pre-ChatGPT, you had the AI can write very short amount of code for you. So you still have to be a coder. but it just makes it a lot easier to get a lot more work done faster because it's completing the code for you. And it made people maybe 5, 10, 15% more productive. I think that didn't really have a big impact on our mission.
Yeah.
Because you still needed quite a bit of training in order to be successful. Now, the next paradigm shift that changed everything for our company and I think for the world is the advent of AI agents.
Yeah.
The experience of working with agent is the experience of delegated work. Now, for software developers, you go from 10, 15% productivity boost to 50%, I would say, if not 100% in some cases. The huge impact is for people with little training in software or maybe software adjacent roles like product management, design, solutions engineering, and there's constellation around not particularly being a computer science major. It's absolutely a new superpower for them. You could provide prototype solutions very, very, very quickly, and we can iterate with the customer like never before on a very close basis. And that extends across the board. HR operations, we have customers from every role in the enterprise. And I think just a question to ask there, if everyone in the enterprise has access to an infinite resource of software engineers, how does that change work? We're not exactly there yet, but I think that's a fundamental shift on the future of work.
Let's come to India and its ever-growing tech talent pool. We have a very large population of 17 million software developers who are being impacted by AI, but also making use of it. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, so we've had a history in India, actually, even before AI. Replit has been around for a long time, and India has always been our second country with the most users. I've seen it grown so fast, in terms of usage and adoption of this technology. And when we started adding AI features, they were the fastest to adopt this technology. I think there are obvious winners in the market. There are potential people that could be impacted, and there are some mitigation strategies there as well. For example, one of our bigger customers is Hexaware Technologies. And so they're going through this transformation, and they're also introducing Replit to their customers. So there's incredible excitement there. And I think this company is going to be one of the big winners of this wave of making software a lot more accessible. I do think that there's a potential worry about more of the outsourcing market in terms of if I'm typically making a small application or startup for a small business, I'm outsourcing to India. Oftentimes I'm now using AI. I'm using Replit and other tools like that. But that's something to keep in mind, and we can discuss about different ways to handle that.
And besides the Hexaware partnership, do you also have other customers? We are also a very price sensitive market. So do you have a specialized price plans? Because just ChatGPT just did that, a special lower tier pricing plan. So are you also thinking in that direction?
I would say Indian enterprise companies are not price sensitive. They're good. So we're getting traction there very, very quickly. Consumer has been a little challenging. Honestly, it hurts me a little bit because Replit's mission is to empower being people to make software, to become software creators. But we also want to make it so easy to use. And for us to make it so easy to use, we need to use a lot of tokens, a lot of AI. And so there's been a tension there, but I also want to work on a more affordable plan. And I know Perplexity and ChatGPT and others have made big partnerships. And so we're looking into that.
Okay, tell me, where does Replit grow from here? You've already touched $150 million ARR, close to 40 million users globally. What does the future look like in terms of revenues, expansion, fundraising?
We did raise funds recently. We raised $250 million. And we're planning to use that for expansion. Global expansion is a big one. We were just in India. We were a bunch of user hackathons and meetups. And we got even way more excited about India than we were. It's just the amount of passion that we're seeing there. So we're going to be investing in India. I don't have really concrete plans to announce right now. But at minimum, we're going to have people on the ground there helping us grow our community. And we're going to be announcing some partnerships as well. but also excited about the Middle East. Myself coming from there, like there's incredible talent just coming up. There's a lot of excitement. There's an incredible amount of capital that's going into AI. We're seeing that with, the UAE, obviously, but also Saudi with the creation of this new company called the Humane that's meant to do everything from chips all the way to software. And Middle East is exciting. Obviously, the US and Europe is it's the places we're already in and we'll continue to invest. One thing I'm really focused on is continuously pushing the state of the art, discovering what's possible of AI agents. Roughly, the vision I'm going for here is instead of working with just one agent, the feeling of being able to spin up as many agents as you need for any given project. So it'll feel more like a team collaborating, and maybe those individuals will have their own memories and understanding what they've done in the past, and you can talk to them about a specific feature or project. The vision there is it starts to feel more like a coworker.
Right. So, this brings me to India's hugely dependent IT services model, which really works on the wage arbitrage between India and the Western countries. Now, at a time when you're saying that AI agents are really working autonomously for hours, do you believe that, India's IT services model could really lose its cost advantage to AI?
It's easy for me to see that this is not the future, the cost arbitrage. And this is not just about AI, but also some geopolitical forces. And now that, in the US relationship and all of that, I think that's always a moment of time thing that happens. And I think India has the talent to be a truly independent innovator of technology.
Yeah.
I would push more towards that than being more of an outsourcing shop. Now, the caveat there is that India can still provide solutions to the West. The competition is not purely on cost. It should be on innovation that could help not just the West, but, like I said, we talked about the Middle East and other places like that. There's a lot of need for talent. There's a lot of buildup that needs to happen there. If I was leading India, I would want to move away from a cost arbitrage and more towards an innovation arbitrage.
Yeah, a lot of leaders absolutely agree with this point of view back home here. Okay, so you've also stated your vision of building a billion developers who create software without, having advanced knowledge of software coding. And, you've also said multiple times that there is no need to learn code. So what message would you want to send to early career, even college students or early career developers right now?
Yeah, I said that's true. But what gets missed often is I also said that specialized knowledge is not going away. In fact, deep specialized knowledge is probably going to be more highly paid and more competitive. Kopathi just 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, released a new project for training a very small ChatGPT sort of alternative. And someone asked them in the comments, how much AI did you use to write this code? And he said almost none. And the reason he said is because it just felt like the AI is not very good at writing Rust or low-level programming languages. So the lower level you go in the stack, the more specialization you need. There's less training data on the internet. Like how many people are writing embedded systems or robotics and putting that on GitHub? And so LLMs, if I was a computer science student, I would choose between two things. I think there's a fork in the road. Am I an application product person? If so, I would go build and learn how to build with AI very well. If I want to go into hard tech, low-level software engineering with space rockets for the self-driving cars and so on, or I want to build AI, ML platforms, I would actually specialize and go as deep as I can. So pick a lane, I would say.
Right. How do you feel about AI's impact in early education? We saw a lot of reports of schools blocking the use of tools like Replit because it impacts the creative learning process of children. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, that's a big battle we've been having for a long time, and actually been having in school, but that requires an education system reform that unfortunately I don't see many people thinking we're working on. There's also the question of like how to use AI. Again, I think AI starts to benefit softer skills than harder skills in many ways, because you need to be a clear thinker. You be able to break problems into their component parts. You be able to communicate with AI effectively. Are we teaching those skills? Like, is there a skill about learning how to manage AI agents? I think it should be in high school. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing that yet. And I think that's concerning.
Sure. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you about how do you feel about this anti-immigration environment in the US right now? You were yourself an immigrant founder. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, and there's so many forces. Some of them I understand. Some of them are clearly driven by just not wanting immigrants and being biased. And I think it's America's loss, but I think it's potentially India's gain.
Yeah.
If Sonor and Satya and all these guys stayed in India, they could be running really big companies there. Right? And so there's always two sides of the same thing. I would love for more Indian folks to come and work at Replit and the US, that they at some point will open an office there as well.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thanks a lot for sparing your time. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, Himanshi, thank you so much.
Whether you're an engineer, product builder, or just starting out, the future belongs to those who learn to work with AI and not really compete with it. Amjad's journey also reminds us that there's no single blueprint for success. There are only bold ideas, relentless curiosity, and the courage to start. That's it for today. The episode was produced by Anirban Chaudhary and Vinay Joshi. Sound design by Indranil Bhattacharjee. A new episode of The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, wherever you get your podcast. Stay tuned as we bring you more conversations from ET in the Valley. This is Himanshi Lohchab signing off. Stay tuned.